Right, so now I'm going to show you how to remove your rear wheel in the event of a puncture. It's nice and simple, not as scary as everyone first makes out. First things first, you undo your rear brake. Both the brakes on the Agatio and the Pro Connect are the same. They release on a quick release mechanism. So you push the caliper together and pull on this silver, what we call the noodle, and it slides out of that groove. It's as easy as that. Okay, no tools required, just snaps out of place. Once you've released the brakes, that means you can drop the wheel out without having to lose any pressure and let the air out of the tyres, and that just makes the thing work a whole lot easier. Second thing you need to do is to ensure that your bike is in the bottom gear. So it's in the lowest gear, so you put it in gear number 1. When it's in gear number 1, you'll come round to the back of the bike here, and you'll turn the plastic gear selector anti-clockwise. Now it is sprung loaded, so watch your fingers because it can be a little bit vicious. You'll see the cable here. You pull the cable out of its housing, and that's done there. That's the last thing that holds that cable in there, is this little cable stop. So when the cable is completely free, you don't need to undo this nut on the end. You don't need to make any adjustments. This is designed as a quick release fitting so that you can refit it once you've repaired your puncture and not have to readjust your gears. So that's now off and nothing to do with the wheel. You then undo your wheel nuts, 15mm wheel nuts, standard thread counterclockwise. I've got these locking shrouds on to help the wheel grip the frame. And there we go. With the wheel nuts undone, you drop the wheel down, you pull your chain off, clear of the wheel, and there you go. The wheel's off, ready for you to fix your puncture, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you how to do that. Okay, so the next thing to do is to ensure the bike is in the bottom gear. So put the bike into gear number 1, and then you're ready to release the gear cable. So down here, you'll find the gear selector, which is a little plastic ring. You turn this anti-clockwise, like so. See the cable go slack, remove it from its holder and let it go. Then the cable is sat in its little cable stop. You pull that back and release it from the slot. So that's where it sits. You pull it back and drop it down. With this completely clear of the wheel, you no longer need to make any adjustments. You do not need to undo this nut. That is preset so that it's easily adjusted when you put it straight back in again. So that's your gear cable undone. All that's left for you to do now is take your wheel nuts off. These are 15mm wheel nuts, standard thread, so anti-clockwise to undo. And there we go, you see the wheel work its way loose. Drop the wheel down. Remove the chain. And then we have your wheel free for you to repair your puncture. The refitting is just a reversal, so we'll quickly run through that. Take the chain. First of all, the chain goes back over onto your sprocket. Your wheel then sits back into the dropouts of the frame. You need to loosen these nuts right off here so that these little selectors can sit over the dropout of the frame. And you'll see that they will only allow the axle to fit one way in the frame. So when they're in place, tighten the wheel nuts up. You should have a little mark on the frame that will show you where they were before. Checking that the wheel is central in the rear of the frame, here and here. And that the chain is under tension. Often helps to push the wheel backwards from the front like I'm doing here as you do this. Then tighten your wheel nuts back up. And that's the wheel in place. Now what you need to do here is to refit your cable back into the cable stop. Turn your gear selector back round anti-clockwise, and you'll see here the slot for the cable to sit in. So you put your cable stop in the cable slot and simply let go. That should automatically be preset in the gear selection that you left it in before. And just to check, there is a little yellow line at the top here. You put it into gear 4 and those two yellow lines should meet. Just do it a couple of times just to check that the cable hasn't stretched or become snagged on anything. And there you go, you're set, ready to go. The refitting of the rear brake is exactly the opposite. You push them together, the cable goes in the little groove on the top. You see this groove here. Goes in the groove, release, and there we go. You're back on the road.